In the pre-dawn stillness of May 10, 2025, RAF Northolt stood as a steadfast hub of British air power, its runways glinting under the first light of a misty morning. The air sharp with the scent of jet fuel and damp grass. The distant roar of a typhoon jet slicing through the quiet. The base, nestled in West London's suburban sprawl, pulsed with disciplined activity soldiers marching in crisp formation, aircraft hangars humming, and security gates manned with precision. At the south gate, a lone figure stood, his faded security jacket, a contrast to the sleek uniforms around him. His thermos of tea, a quiet companion. Thomas Hargrove. 6 was no ordinary guard. They called him just Tom, not Mr. Hargrove, not Sir, just Tom. A former RAF sergeant whose vigilance had faded into the background of the base's daily rhythm. Mocked as outdated by younger soldiers, Tom's quiet watchfulness went unnoticed until a single act of foresight thwarted a potential disaster, silencing ridicule and earning him a legacy that would echo far beyond the gates. For those of you who've been underestimated, valued the strength of quiet resolve, or been moved by a humble act that proved wisdom's power, this story of Tom's vigilance and the respect it forged will resonate deeply. Join us in celebrating these unsung heroes by subscribing for more tales that reveal the strength hidden in silence. Thomas Hargrove. 76 was a man of unyielding purpose, his wiry frame and weathered hands shaped by a life of service. His gray eyes sharp with the clarity of someone who'd seen war's chaos and survived it. Born in 1949 in a working-class street in Liverpool, Tom grew up amidst post-war rebuilding. His childhood filled with his father's tales of flying hurricanes in the Battle of Britain, stories that sparked a boy's dream of the skies. At 18, he joined the Royal Air Force training as a navigator, and rising to sergeant, his career spanning the Cold War's tense standoffs and the Falklands conflict of 1982, where he flew reconnaissance missions in a Nimrod. His eyes scanning the South Atlantic for Argentine ships, his calm voice guiding pilots through stormy skies. Tom, you're our compass. Steady us, his wing commander had said, words that became his anchor through 20 years of service. Retiring in 1992, he settled in Ruislip near Northolt with his wife Ellen, a school teacher, their small bungalow, a haven of books and memories. After Ellen's passing in 2015, Tom took a civilian security job at RAF Northolt, his faded RAF badge pinned to his jacket, his thermos of strong tea a ritual. The base was his purpose, his goal, simple but profound. Watch with purpose, protect the future, honor the past. At 76, his steps were slow, his hearing dulled, but his instincts honed in cockpits over hostile waters remained razor sharp. His logbook, a meticulous record of every vehicle, every face, every anomaly. These gates my post the same as the skies were, he'd murmur, his voice low, his gray eyes scanning the horizon. To you who've carried quiet duty, perhaps in a job where vigilance defined you, a moment when you watched despite doubt, or a time when your experience was your strength. Tom's resolve might echo when you stood firm, when your purpose was your guide, when you guarded what mattered most. RAF Northolt, on May 10, 2025, was a hive of disciplined energy, its runways alive with the screech of jets, typhoons, and voyagers preparing for exercises, its barracks bustling with soldiers in camouflage and dress blues, their boots echoing in dawn drills. The base, a key hub for RF operations and VIP flights, was a fortress of security, its perimeter fences topped with razor wire, its gates guarded by armed personnel and CCTV. The south gate, a quieter entry for supply trucks and civilian staff, was Tom's domain. A concrete booth with a flickering heater, a radio crackling with updates, and a view of the fence line stretching into the mist. Tom manned the gate, his faded security jacket patched at the elbows, his RF badge catching the dawn's light, his thermos steaming as he checked IDs with deliberate care. Soldiers passed, their salutes rare, their glances dismissive, a nod at best, a smirk at worst. To them, Tom was a relic, a shadow from another era. His slow pace and logbook a source of amusement in a base driven by cutting-edge tech and youthful vigor. His presence was barely registered, his gray eyes scanning vehicles while soldiers marched to hangars, their radios buzzing their minds on missions. Not the old man at the gate. Yet Tom's heart beat with purpose, his vigilance a silent vow to the base that had been his life, his memory of Falklands nights, spotting enemy shadows in the dark, keeping his watch sharp. To you who've stood in the background, perhaps in a role, overlooked a task unnoticed, or a duty that felt invisible, Tom's post might recall when you worked unseen, when your watchfulness was your pride, when you guarded despite the world's indifference. Tom's routine was methodical. His days, a rhythm of checks and notes, each vehicle scrutinized each driver's face, studied his logbook, a detailed chronicle, license plates, times descriptions, anomalies. Soldiers noticed his diligence, but mocked it their laughter, sharp in the crisp air. A young officer, Lieutenant Daniel Reed, 29, smirked as Tom inspected a delivery truck, his voice loud. Does he think it's still 1982? Bet he's looking for Argentine spies. His mates chuckled, their coffee cups steaming, their eyes on Tom's slow pace, his flashlight tracing the truck's undercarriage. Another soldier, Corporal Amy Walsh, 24, joined in her green, wide. Betty checks for carrier pigeons next. The laughter spread, a small crowd of airmen and ground crew. Pausing to watch their banter, a ritual, Tom's silenced their cue to continue. He said nothing, his face impassive, his gray eyes steady, his nod slight as he waved the truck through his thermos, untouched, his focus unbroken. Behind the booth, he sat alone during breaks. His logbook open, his pen marking patterns, times, face, vehicles that lingered too long. The base saw him as outdated, his methods quaint in an era of drones and AI security systems. He's just a gate prop, pilot, Captain. Sarah Blake muttered to her co-pilot, rolling her eyes as Tom checked her ID. His fingers slow but precise. Yet Tom's silence wasn't weakness. It was strength. His solitude a fortress of experience. His vigilance a shield the base didn't yet know it needed. To you who faced mockery for your ways, perhaps a skill dismissed as old-fashioned, a pace judged too slow, or a duty laughed off, Tom's patience might resonate, recalling when you endured scorn, when your silence held power, when your work spoke louder than their words. The turning point came quietly, as Tom's vigilance caught what others missed. One evening, as the base settled into dusk, the sky a deep indigo, Tom sat in his booth rewinding security footage on a grainy monitor, his gray eyes narrowing at a detail. A delivery truck, its license plate smudged, lingering near the perimeter fence for 12 minutes, its driver pacing a shadow, moving near the cargo. He cross-checked his logbook, his pen circling entries. The same truck 3 days in a row, always late, always near the fence. His gut honed in Falkland skies whispered danger, a pattern too deliberate for routine. He wrote a note, his handwriting. Neat possible breach, south fence truck, LN 47. Recommend patrol. He left it on the security desk addressed to Captain Michael Ellis, the base's security chief, then resumed his watch, his thermos cold, his flashlight sweeping the dark. The next morning, Ellis Fitu, a brisk officer with a tablet always in hand, glanced at the note and tossed it aside. His voice dismissive, Hargrove's seeing ghosts again. His deputy, Lieutenant Patel, nodded their focus on a new AI system, not Tom's paranoia. Soldiers overheard their laughter sharper now. Old Tom's fighting the Falklands in his head. Yet Tom watched his booth, a sentinel's post. His logbook growing, his eyes tracking every shadow, his silence. A vow to protect, even if ignored. To you who've seen what others missed, perhaps, a warning unheeded, a detail overlooked, or a pattern you alone notice. Tom's foresight might mirror when you trusted your instincts, when you stood by your truth, when your vigilance waited for its moment. At 2 a.m. on May 11th, 2025, the base's calm shattered. Alarms failed, a glitch in the new AI system, the perimeter dark, the night silent, but for a faint rustle near the south fence. Tom, on his late shift, his thermos empty, noticed a flicker on his monitor. Movement. Two figures scaling the fence, their tools glinting, their intent clear, sabotage, espionage, or worse. He moved silently, his flashlight. Low his steps, steady, despite his age. His RAF training night patrols, quick decisions, guiding him. Footprints in the mud confirmed his fears, their path leading to a fuel depot. A critical target. Tom radioed security, his voice calm. Intruders south, fence sector 4. The desk understaffed scrambled, but Tom didn't wait. He confronted the intruders, his flashlight blinding them, his presence, a shock. Two men, hooded tools in hand, frozen by the old man's resolve. "This is my post," he said softly, his gray eyes hard, his stance unyielding, his hand on his radio, a warning of backup. The intruders, startled, fled scaling the fence. Their tools dropped their plan, foiled. Tom secured the area, his flashlight tracing their retreat, his radio crackling as security arrived, their torches sweeping their voices. Tense Hargrove. "You got them." He nodded, his logbook open, his pen, marking the time. 10 intruders repelled. The base was saved, its jets safe, its mission intact. All because of Tom's quiet watch. To you, who've acted when others hesitated. Perhaps stopping a crisis, standing firm, in danger, or protecting what mattered. Tom's stand might recall when you rose to the moment, when your vigilance prevailed, when your silence became strength. The next morning, Captain Ellis investigated his tablet forgotten. As he pored over Tom's logbook, its pages, a map of foresight entries on the track. The shadows, the pattern no one else saw. Security footage confirmed it. Tom's booth camera caught the intruder's approach, his flashlight their undoing. Ellis, his face pale, met Tom at the gate, his salute crisp, his voice earnest. "You prevented a breach, Hargrove. We owe you." Tom, his jacket patched, nodded, his gray eyes steady, his reply simple. "Just my post, sir." Ellis shared the story with the base, his briefing blunt. "Hargrove's not just a guard, he's a ref through and through." Soldiers, once mocking, listened their coffee cups, still their eyes on Tom as he checked IDs, his thermos steaming again. Cadets began saluting him, their boots snapping, their voices respectful. "Morning, Tom." Lieutenant Reed, the officer who'd mocked 1982, approached, his smirk gone. "Sorry, Tom didn't know what you'd seen." Tom nodded, his smile faint, his logbook open, his watch unbroken. Corporal Walsh, the pigeon joker, left a tea packet in his booth. A silent apology, her salute. shy but sincere. Captain Blake. The pilot stopped rolling her eyes. Her ID check, now a moment of respect. You're the real deal, Tom. To you who've earned respect through action, perhaps proving doubters wrong, silencing scorn with results, or showing your worth in crisis. Tom's recognition might mirror when your work spoke, when mockery turned to honor, when your quiet strength shone. Tom's act rippled beyond the gate his story, a spark that lit the base with new respect. A sign was proposed by Ellis, backed by cadets Hargrove Gate. Its design, a bronze RAF wing over a gate inscribed, "For Thomas Hargrove, Guardian of Northolt, 2025." The proposal shared at a base assembly drew applause, soldiers standing their salutes a wave. Veterans from the local legion nodding their eyes wet. X caught the story. A cadet's post footage of Tom's booth. His logbook, the fence going viral. Just Tom saved our base hashtags. Ash Hargrove Gate, Silent Guardian. Ash Sheriff Hero. Trended clips shared globally, comments flooding. He's the RAF's heart. Tom's vigilance is epic. Respect the quiet ones. The base commander group, Captain Laura Henshaw, pinned a commendation to Tom's jacket. Her voice clear. "Sergeant Hargrove, your watch kept us safe." Tom, his thermos in hand, nodded, his grey eyes misty, his reply brief. For the RAF, ma'am, soldiers shared his story, their mess hall banter. Now laced with pride, Tom's legends saw what drones missed. To you who've seen a moment, redefine respect, perhaps a humble act that shifted views. A quiet hero honored, or a story that changed hearts. Tom's legacy might recall when you saw wisdom triumph, when silence became legend, when a single act rewrote a narrative. Tom retired quietly a month later. His booth empty, his thermos, left behind a note taped inside watch, "Well, Tom." Cadet Mia Patel, 22, took his post. Her uniform, crisp. Tom's logbook, open, her eyes scanning the fence. Her salute to his photo, a daily vow. Mia, a Londoner whose parents fled Somalia, saw Tom as kin, her own quiet diligence, a tribute. He taught me to see, not just look. She checked vehicles with his care. Her logbook neat, her radio ready, her post a continuation of his watch. Soldiers saluted her, their nods a nod to Tom, their respect a chain unbroken. The Hargrove Gate sign was approved, set for 2026. Its unveiling planned with veterans, cadets, and Tom's son David, a teacher who flew from Liverpool, his pride clear. Dad never boasted, just did his job. X posts grew. Mia's carrying Tom's torch. Hargrove Gates forever. A campaign watch with purpose, launched with the RAF, and schools teaching vigilance through Tom's story, its posters. A guard at a gate. See the shadows in bases and classrooms. Translated into Arabic, Polish, and Hindi. Murals appeared in Ruislip Tom's silhouette vigilance. In Cardiff, Gulliver, with wings. Schools invited veterans, their stories echoing Tom's kids writing essays. Why Tom's watch matters. To you who've passed a legacy, perhaps mentoring another, leaving a mark, or seeing your work live on Tom and Mia's bond, might mirror when you handed over your post, when your purpose inspired, when your silence shaped the future. Tom settled in Ruislip, his bungalow cozy, his garden blooming, his RF badge on a shelf, his logbook gifted to Mia, its pages a guide. He visited Northolt monthly cadets, greeting him, their salutes sharp, their voices warm. "Tom, you're our hero." Mia, shared tea, her logbook open, her stories of the gate a tribute, her smile. Bright. "You're still here, Tom." The campaign grew. Bases adopted, Hargrove drills, checking patterns. Communities hosted vigilance days, kids learning to watch. RAF museums displayed Tom's jacket captioned, "The Silent Guardian." Ex-posts swelled, "Taught my son to notice like Tom." A Bristol dad wrote, "Started a watch club." Inspired by Hargrove, a Nairobi teacher posted. Stood firm, thinking of Tom. A Sydney guard shared attaching a gate photo. A BBC feature, Tom's watch aired. Showing his booth, his logbook, Mia's post, its message. Clear wisdom guards us. For you who've honored quiet strength, perhaps with a nod to a mentor. A stand for the overlooked or a moment that valued wisdom. Tom and Mia's story is a call to watch with purpose, to let vigilance live, to honor silence with respect. Share your story. Have you guarded unseen proven wisdom? Honored a silent hero. Subscribe for more tales of heart and duty. And join us in raising awareness. Stand with vigilance. Live with purpose, love with honor. Click the bell, share with someone who cherishes unsung heroes. And let's honor the watch that sees the silence, that saves the legacy, that shines in a sergeant, a cadet, and a gate that guards forever.